Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about Red Pill, Andrew Tate and MGTOW. So let's get into Red Pill. So what are my thoughts basically on Red Pill? So there's an extreme to Red Pill that I'm not really a fan of, right? And that is I guess you could say, that I guess it kind of goes into like demonizing women a little bit, right? And being very misogynistic, which obviously I don't agree with, right? Obviously, I think a dose of truth is good, right? So one of the things that a lot of people learn when they first get into Red Pill and stuff is that basically the movies lie to you, right? Romantic novels lie to you about relationships and what can attract a woman, right? A lot of people think, oh yeah, or a lot of guys think, oh yeah, if I treat a woman really nicely, if I buy her things, she will fall in love with me, right? But the truth is, right, with that situation, the red pill, as I guess you could say, is that attraction isn't a choice, right? So even if you're really nice to a woman, even if you buy her gifts, even if you buy her flowers, if she's not attracted to you and she doesn't see you in that way, then it's very unlikely that she's going to, want to be with you unless, let's say, she's materialistic and she likes the fact that you're buying her things. And if she's materialistic and she only likes you because you are being nice to her and you're giving her gifts, right? Then obviously that's not the woman that you want, right? Because she's only with you because she's materialistic, okay? So basically, the red pill is that, you don't really have to actually do much to make a woman more attracted to you or to win over the heart of a woman who is attracted to you, right? In fact, it's actually better to do less. It's better to not buy her lots of things, right? That I always say, like, if you're going out on a first date with a woman, it's better to actually go somewhere inexpensive first, just for a drink, right? Don't go for a sit-down meal yet. Right? Have time just having a drink with her, and if you like her, then you can then extend the date and you're enjoying yourself and you think that she's really good and you'd love to continue dating her, right? If you feel that way when you're on a date with a woman, right, then you can extend the date and you can make the date longer by then going for a meal, right? If she wants to do that too, right? So a drink is a really good way because is a really good, first date, right? Because you can leave if you don't like the woman, or you can extend it and continue the date, right? And go to other places afterwards, right? But if you don't like her, then you can just easily leave within like 30 to 40 minutes. You could just say, well, it was nice chatting to you, right? Let's just go our separate ways now because, I gotta go. I gotta get up for work in the morning. I gotta go to school, whatever it may be, right? So you don't really have to do much to attract a woman. Like if she's attracted to you and she finds you attractive, you only have to take like minimal action. You only need to really ask her out like once a week, and then after like the first few dates, she will then agree. She will then not agree. She will, start reaching out to you more because she'll realize that, oh, he only asks me out once a week. So if he only asks me out once a week, then I should probably start reaching out to him more. And then basically that's when you'll realize that she's falling in love with you. Because you may have to like initiate things to begin with and get the ball rolling. You may need to pursue to begin with by asking her out once a week, by asking her out on a date. And then after a while has gone by, maybe like 3 or 4 dates, maybe even 2, if she really likes you, she will start reaching out to you more. And if she's starting to reach out to you more, it means that she's starting to fall in love with you. She's starting to find you more and more attractive, right? And you're raising her attraction towards you, you see, okay? So, but the extremists of red pill, right, they take it to such an extreme that they've actually really taken a blue pill without even realizing it because they are too busy, demonizing women and being misogynistic and basically putting all women under the same umbrella and things like that, and they've kind of got this like pump and dump mentality, right? And that's not really going to be helpful to them, right? Especially if they do want a proper relationship. Now, there's probably a lot of guys in the red pill community that don't actually want a girlfriend. They probably just want to kind of like live their life and just have little flings here and there, which is fine. You can live your life the way that you want to. But those guys out there that are serious about relationships and are actually really depressed and upset and wish they could get a relationship, it's not a good idea to have this mentality, because what you got to understand about women is women love men who love women, right? So obviously there's a lot more to the red pill community than what I've just said, but what I personally don't agree with is the sort of like extreme side of it, where it gets misogynistic and saying that all women are bad and basically treating them like it's the, that century where, women got burnt at the stake and treating them all like witches and stuff, and like, things like that. So if you do ever get into the red pill community and you're, reading a lot of things on it and you're getting, talking to a lot of other guys about it, just be careful that it doesn't turn into a cult basically for you, basically. Right. So, Andrew Tate. So my thoughts on Andrew Tate are this. I'm not a huge fan just because I'm pretty sure, to my understanding, he was a bit of a pimp, right? So he had like this webcam sort of business, I guess you could say, with, girls on cams, right? And basically the reason I don't like that is because I'm not a big fan of the porn industry, right? I don't think porn does anything good for anyone. I think it gives a false depiction of romantic relationships. It's especially on the intimate side, right? And because of that, I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate, because basically cam girls is just a branch off of the porn industry, right? And I think porn rots the brain. I don't think it's good. Like, I know this from my own experience. I used to watch it when I was in my late teens and my early 20s, and I can guarantee you it did absolutely nothing for me except just rot my brain. That's how this, and it also feeds into like the instant gratification thing as well, doesn't it? Because, and I don't think instant gratification is a good thing. Like, I'm not a big fan of people who hide behind their these things. Like, they hide behind playing video games, they hide behind watching too much Netflix and indulging in too much food and alcohol and other substances, right? It goes into the instant gratification thing. And basically the thing I don't like about instant gratification is that it feels good in the moment, but later on you kind of regret doing it. Like, if you wasted the whole weekend watching porn, watching Netflix, playing video games, eating lots of junk, drinking, all these different things that feel really, really good in the moment, right? But often afterwards you have a lot of regret and wish you hadn't wasted the weekend doing these really like life numbing things, right? Because if you're numbing your life with all these different things, there's an underlying issue there, right? And that's the reason I'm not a huge fan of Andrew Tate, because he was these cam girls was like a branch off of that. I'm not sure if he still does that sort of thing. I think he is more now targeting, trying to strengthen men and things like that, which is good. But just because of the whole webcam girl thing, I'm not a big fan. I don't think it's. I think it, because it feeds into the instant gratification world and the porn industry. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But I do like actually the relationship that he has with his brother. I think they've got a really good brotherhood and a really good relationship there. And I think in that sense, they're great role models for brotherhood, and I think that's really good. I don't really have much of an opinion on his brother, but yeah, that's my thoughts. So MGTOW is like, I guess, a branch off of red pill a little bit, which is, I think, is even more extreme than red pill, and in a way, it's kind of, I feel a little bit sorry for some of the guys that are in MGTOW, because they've obviously been really hard done by certain women that they've met, and they've gone through like horrible divorces, and they've lost everything. They may have lost custody of their kids and things like that. So there are a lot of guys in MGTOW that really truly have been burned by women, the women that they married and things like that. But what I don't like is I don't like the lack of responsibility of that, right? Because usually it takes two to tango. Now, I'm not saying that there are some guys in there that have not had those like 100%, it was the woman's fault, she was horrible, she was a witch right from the get-go, right, all the way throughout. I'm sure there are some guys who are in the MGTOW community that have had relationships like that. But usually it does take two to tango. Usually there is a reason why she has wanted a divorce or wanted to do certain things, and that's the reason why maybe she wanted to split up with him. There's things that he could have done better, right? He could have improved upon. Because what women don't like is they don't like men who treat their women like a therapist, or treat their women like they should be like their mummy, basically, right? That's one of the worst things that can make a woman be turned off of you if you start, making her do things that that your mum used to do, or not necessarily making. I'm not saying that they're like, telling her, oh, you got to wash my clothes, right? Right, and like forcing her to do that, right? I'm not saying that that's what's going on, but because of the idea, because basically what these some of these guys have gone through is they've been raised by their mum, right? They've been raised by their mum and probably their dad too, right? But their mum has pretty much done everything for them, right? They've washed their clothes, they've cooked all their dinners, they've done pretty much everything for them. They've picked up after them all the time, right? And they've treated them basically really good, right? They've done, so they've treated their sons really well, and they've tried to take care of him as much as possible, right? But the problem is that when a man goes into a relationship with a woman, sometimes he's expecting the same treatment, but the difference between a mother and a son relationship is way different than a husband and a wife, right? In a husband and a wife partnership, you really are a partnership, right? And the roles need to be defined very clearly to begin with, right? You need to figure out, you kind of need to have a little battle with each other to figure out who is going to do what, right? And get really clear on that, right? And in terms of household duties and things like that, right? What's the expectations from both of you, right? And some guys, they may meet a woman and they may say to her, look, I want you to wash my clothes. I want you to cook all the dinners. I want you to pick up after me. I want you to do all these things. I basically want you to treat me like your son, right? They may come across that way. And maybe if you've met a woman who's extremely feminine, extremely nurturing, maybe she will actually do that for you, right? Maybe she will actually take on those things for you. But you have to find a very, very, very feminine woman who's very much in her feminine to do that, right? So, but unfortunately, not a lot of women will allow that. And they may put up with it for some time, right? Some women may put up with that kind of thing for some time. But eventually, right, she's going to get sick of it. She's going to, especially if you've had kids and now she's got the kids to look after, and also the big kid, right, her husband, right, or a boyfriend who she's also got a baby and look after and pick up after and things like that. But your wife's your partner, not your mum, right? And I think a lot of guys get kind of angry and upset about that because the main view that they had of women was their mother, right? It's like some sort of like Oedipus thing, right? So when they go into a relationship with a new woman, they're kind of expecting like what they had at home when they was a kid. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. So it's a good idea for men and it's a good idea for mothers too, to teach their sons how to do some of these life things that they're going to need to do. Like teach them how to wash their own clothes, teach them how to cook a meal, right? Teach them how to do these things. So even if their wife wants to do those things for them, right? Even if she wants to do all of those things for her husband, right? At least he still knows how to do them, right? Because sometimes if a woman is pregnant, she might not be able to do all those things that she used to be able to do, or if she's stressed or if she gets sick, right? So it's a good idea that men can pick up that slack around the household when those things are happening, right? But sometimes guys don't do that. They just let the woman just carry on as they were. Now, I know there's a lot more to it than that when it comes to romantic relationships. But that's one of the issues that a lot of MGTOW guys have had, right? That their woman has basically lost all interest in sex and they've divorced them or done all these things. But there was actually some things, even just really subtle things, the man could have done to actually improve that relationship. Now, like I said, there may have been, I'm sure there are guys in MGTOW where the woman was 100% to blame. There wasn't even a slight slither of a percentage of things that he did wrong. Maybe he did absolutely everything right? I'm sure there are things like that, and he was just with a bad woman. But then at least he needs to take responsibility of the fact that he picked the wrong woman. It takes two to get married. It takes two to get in a relationship, right? And you decided to be with her, right? And there was probably some red flags that you could have picked up on when you was dating, right? For example, with me, like when I was dating a woman, in my early 20s. When I first started dating her, she said to me, oh, what would you do if I cheated on you? That was a red flag. That was within the first month of dating her. She said something like that to me, right? But I just ignored it because I was attracted to her because I thought, oh, I could change her, or that didn't really matter that much, right? And guess what happened, right? The inevitable happened. She cheated on me multiple times, right? And it's all because it was my own fault in a way, because I didn't pick up on that red flag to begin with, right? I should have questioned, why the hell was she asking me something like that? Why, right? Yeah, I should have picked up on that, right? So there are probably things that you could have picked up on, right? That, and a lot of these things that these guys could have picked up on in the MGTOW community, right? That they just ignored because they were too busy, focusing on the woman's potential. But what you got to understand is that when someone shows you who they are, you have to believe them, right? Don't assume that you can change them at all, right? You have to assume that the person you're with is the way that they're always going to be, right? So, yeah, again, with the MGTOW guys as well, is that I feel like, yeah, it's a good idea for men to live their own life, to go their own way. Like, I really like the slogan, men going their own way, right? But it should be more in terms of, I'm going to pick the woman that I want to be with, right? I'm gonna find the perfect woman for me. I'm not just going to settle down with the first woman that I find because there are better women. There could be better women out there for me, right? I'm not going to just, I'm going to search for the perfect woman for me. I'm going to search for the best opportunities in life for me. I'm going to find the best kinds of jobs that I can find for me. Maybe I'm going to create my own business. I'm basically going to live my life the way I want to live my life. Now, that may be completely without a woman, which is fine, right? If that's what you truly want. But I think a lot of the reasons why these men can get so bitter, right, about women is because really they do want a relationship. Really they do want a romantic relationship. Really they did want their relationship with their wife or ex-wife to work out, or their girlfriend. They really wanted that, but it didn't, right? And they feel bad about it and they feel horrible about it, right? And so, there are a lot of guys out there who are in this MGTOW community that actually really do want a relationship with a woman. That really do feel that way, and they really do want that romantic connection, right? And maybe one of the reasons why they feel so bitter is because they're actually really lonely, right? So you've got to figure out then, if you're a MGTOW guy, or if you're thinking about joining MGTOW or whatever, you've got to think, why? Why do I want to do this, right? And what do I really want? If I could have it any way that I wanted, would I be in a romantic relationship with a woman that loves me? Or would I really just want to go my own way and just be single and do my own thing, right? Which is absolutely fine. But it's the demonizing of women that I don't agree with, right? Because back to the quote that I said earlier, and that is, women love men who love women, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to think that they're perfect or anything like that. But if you notice like a James Bond kind of character, for example, right? James Bond loves women. Yeah, sure, he kind of like goes from woman to woman, but he doesn't demonize them. He doesn't hate them. He flirts with them. He banters with them. He enjoys their company. He obviously enjoys being intimate with them, right? That's the kind of attitude, and that's the kind of guy that a lot of women love. They kind of love that guy who really loves and adores women, but is also strong and mysterious, and has that kind of essence about him, and is fun, and has a playful attitude, and is a bit cocky, things like that. And women love that kind of guy, right? Even if you're just bantering with a woman who you've just met, who you're never going to see again, if you can banter with her and make her smile, that's what women love, guys like that, who lift them up, right? Instead of dragging them down. Or if you want women to like you, and if you want a relationship with a woman eventually in time, then you can't treat her like trash, okay? It's just not going to work out, okay? So, if you want to get a good grasp on who I think are healthy role models when it comes to women and relationships and things like that, then I think Corey Wayne is a good one. Coach Corey Wayne, you can find him here on YouTube. He's got thousands and thousands of videos. Mark Manson and his book Models, that's a really good one. Dr. Robert Glover, I believe his name is. He made a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. That's a great book if you want to read if you're already in a marriage, right, that may be going sideways. And David Data is a really good one, although it's a little bit more on the spiritual side. Okay, so that's my thoughts on those things. I'm sure I'm going to get loads of comments with people disagreeing with me, but that's fine. I just wanted to put my point across and how I felt about these different things and Andrew Tate. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.